followed by Carla Massaro.
Chuck Hubbard, Ward 2. I have a couple of things to say. First, I want to thank you, Mayor Marsh, for the compassion that you demonstrated toward the folks who were in those tents. And I am deeply, deeply disturbed that we continue to languish as a city with regard to not providing shelter for the unhoused. It's a travesty as far as I'm concerned. Now, as you're leaving the council, I thank you for your service, but I also want to thank Steve Olson. Steve Olson has been a dedicated servant. I told him that privately. I'm sorry he's not sitting in that chair to hear it right now because I want to say it publicly. I have disagreed more often with him than I have agreed, and yet I see him as a dedicated council member. I want to challenge Mr. McFall just a little bit in terms of his statement a little earlier that the mayor needed to have the city manager's approval. Apparently, at least according to the newspaper, she did not have specific disapproval from the city manager. And I want to call your attention to a bigger issue, and it is a big issue. What would happen if we had major sections of Loveland lose their power for 4 or 5 nights? How would the city respond? This happened in Texas, and the question, and people really suffered there. How would the city respond? If a counselor wanted to open a building, what building would that be? What process would the counselor have to go through to get approval? And how might a counselor find an override, a veto of what a city manager might say? I ask the same thing about the Board of Education because it has gymnasiums that sometimes can be used for that process or for such a need and have been used in other cities. I want to call yourself to that issue and ask that you consider defining such a process. This city has been hit with flash floods before, and they can be devastating. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Carla Massaro, followed by Jacob Fuller.